think I have everything in order, but we'll see. Hi, friends. How's it going? How are we all doing? Music, you are way too upbeat right now. Not prepared to handle that. But yeah, howdy, y'all. I feel like shit today. Sorry I didn't stream yesterday. I felt like shit yesterday. But I wanted to play this fucking game, so we're here and we're gonna play it. Just know I'm not gonna be super pumped about a lot right now. I'm excited to be here. I am. I just don't feel great. I don't know. So we'll also just see how long this whole thing lasts. By this thing, I mean this stream. I don't know. We're gonna check out Wytchwood today, which I have played a little tiny bit. My name is Kayshurrr. I'm not just any pick-me. I'm the ultimate pick-me. Yeah, no, we're gonna channel some, Kayshurrr today. No. Yeah, so we're gonna check out Wytchwood. I played a little bit of it, but I mean, like, very, very minimal amount. Just to see if it was a game that I did actually want to stream. I mean, I'm gonna feel how I feel, and I figured that if I streamed or didn't, it'd be fine either way. I missed streaming and don't want to fall out of it, so we're here and we're gonna do it. But like I said, we'll see how long it goes. Figured I might as well at least attempt, and then worst comes to worst, we stop. Oh no! Sorry, like I said, I feel like absolute garbage, and that's fine. But I am excited about this game because it looks precious. Get out of here, Spotify. I need you gone. And honestly, this witch's goals. I would like to be this witch. We'll save over. Yeah, we'll save over the thing that I did. The 30 minutes that I played previously. It is a heavy reading game, but it's crafting, and it's precious, and you play as a witch, and you do some stuff, and it's awesome. So, and the art is really, really great. The soundtrack is good. As per usual, we've got content warnings and a game link if you want. I did mention it earlier, but anyone who has just come in, I guess, the Does the Dog Die page doesn't have any of it. Doesn't have anything filled out. Yeah, reading heavy. It's voices. Voices can potentially happen. No promises that they're gonna be great today. But there will be voices. I don't think my witch forest would have a lot of acacia trees because they like dry, arid areas. Which I don't necessarily mind the dry, but I would like there to be more greenery than just the acacia trees. Or shrubs, because there are trees and shrubs. It is very good. But, yeah, like I said, the Does the Dog Die page doesn't have anything filled out yet. Hi, baby! But I also couldn't find any content warnings anywhere else. So I'm assuming that it's very, like, mellow and fine. But if people would be so kind as to, fill out the Does the Dog Die page as we play, that would be cool. Hi, Lamia. It's hard to see as well. But my lettuce blanket came in. So big old shout out to Bo. I don't know that they're here right now, but that's okay. But the lettuce blanket came in. Hey, can you lay on my lap like a person? Kayshurrr. I mean, it doesn't sound that bad. It doesn't sound that bad. Sorry, I've got Lamia being a monster over here. Let us cuddle in the blanket. It's very small. It is definitely a single person blanket. I don't think I can cuddle anyone under this blanket except for Lamia, but I guess she's the only one that matters. Why are you goofy? But yeah, I guess at this point, Yes, thank you, Travis. You can log in with a Google or a Facebook account, or you can make an account with them. But we use them so often that it's good to occasionally give back. Which voice mod would you like, Travis? Which one do you want? I gotta open up voice mod. Lorge? You want a Lorge narrator? You can do a Lorge voice for a Lorge narrator. Lamia, you can't stay in my lap. I need you to understand that you can't just lay here. Alright. Not occasionally. Hold on, I gotta find Titan. Where is it? Where did you go? Where have you gone? There it is. Alright. Also, give me just a second. I look louder than normal. I'm gonna turn that down just a little bit in case I find my rhythm and start speaking even louder, because I know I'm speaking a little more quietly than I usually do. I recognize this.
But you know what? That's okay. Because we got voice mod on now. So yeah, let's do the thing. Once upon a time, there lived an odd little witch in an odd little house. She spent most of her days tending to her odd little garden and resting in her odd little chair. On this day, however, her sleep is interrupted by an odd little noise. Ah! Gotta get up. Gotta get up. Oh, I didn't set a timer though. Whoopsies. It's okay, you can just listen to this goat stomp around and yell at us. Basically, yes. Okay, hold on. Mommy is being a turd, and I need her to not be in my lap. I love you, baby. You gotta be over there for right now, okay? Alright, is that too loud? The game? Picturing a giant woman tells the tale of this Wytchwood? I mean, it's not incorrect. Alright, what do we got over here? What are you doing, goat? Devil, how dare you wake up a young lady from her beauty sleep? Blah! Shoo! Get out of my house, you mindless beast! You're making a mess. I am gonna turn the game down just a smidge, because it feels loud. Just a smidge. I like this imagery that you were painting for us. It's very good. With a swift kick in the rump, you boot the goat through the front door. Get out of my house. Get out of my house, goat. When did this place get so cluttered? I could have sworn I swept the hearth just yesterday. First things first, my old grimoire must be around here somewhere. New chapter. First things first. Aha! Here it is! It's lighter than I recall. Your grimoire contains all of your craftable recipes. You can open it at any time by pressing H. Oh. Okay, thank you. I love the little run animation. It's very good. You need to collect your things first. Like what? Oh, you want me to check this? I understand. Okay. All my recipes are missing! That damnable creature's chewed up all the pages of my book. Where's my belt? I'll need it to carry my things if I'm going to confront the beast. Must have left it in that trunk over there. You mean this trunk? This trunk that I'm standing in front of? Can we take all of you, please, and thank you? Thank you. Ugh, my poor back. How long was I napping for? Good dose of medicine ought to soothe these aching bones before I head outside. At least I still have the recipe for my mending poultice. Give me the things. But yeah. This game is precious and I love it. And I have been trying very hard to not play it. Because I wanted to stream it. But also look at this fireplace. I need this house. Basically is what we're getting at. Raft, please. guess we needed to run over here to do this. This is fine. You step outside into a human marsh and immediately stub your toe on a twisted root. Ouch! Close your eyes for a wink, and the next thing you know, the whole yard's gone to weeds. Somewhere in the distance, you can hear braying through the dense bramble. Where'd that cross-eyed Billy get to? You could at least put those snatchers to good use on this lawn. Good. Everyone needs this game. It's precious. But it definitely fits like the spooky cute vibe. So, figured it would be a good change of pace from my lovely daughter for the afternoons. There's our map. This doesn't help me, but also look at this. I would genuinely live here. If only it weren't so humid. Because it's a swamp and we all know that it would be humid. It's a good thing to learn. Better late than never, you know? Oh? That's 5 minutes. Say goodbye to large Kaysh. She is gone now.
Now it is just regular Kaysh. It's fine. Is there anything else we can nab? This? Cool. Hello, goat. Ah! Is that all you've got to say for yourself? The giant will be back with more cookie crumbs later. Ah! Goat coughs up a disgusting hairball. Ah, yes, hello. Hello? Can you hear me now? Apologies, it's been so long since I've used a mortal vessel. Yuck, there's dirt in its mouth. Pooh, pooh. You can talk? Of course I can talk. Has your mind become so filled with cobwebs that you've forgotten your old friend? You wound me, madam. It's good to see you up and about. I was beginning to wonder if you'd ever awaken. Though I suppose time flows strangely in this place. The art is very good. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Anyway, I've come to collect. Do you have the amount we agreed upon? Amount? Amount of what? Oh dear. If you really don't remember, we should go over the contract details again. Down there. Goat nods its head towards the ancient stone gateway looming nearby. Oh, not Cusco! Right? Okay, everything about the witch's design is perfect. From her little bird feet to her little pot earrings. It's all great. They're all great. They're all good. They're all great. And just how am I supposed to get through that solid rock? You're the one who sealed it last. Take a closer look and I'm sure it'll come back to you. Gotta open my witch's eye. Stone pillar, an unusually large standing stone wrapped with enchanted engravings. Weaknesses? Unveiling powder. Great. Don't underestimate your senses, my dear. You may be old, but you can see things others cannot. Hidden weaknesses lying below the surface. I can see it now. There are shallow runes etched onto the surface of the stone, but they're too faint for me to read. A powder of unveiling ought to do the trick. If you hadn't made a snack of my book, I wouldn't have to retranscribe my recipes. I shall not be held liable for any losses or inconveniences incurred as a result of abyssal possession. By inspecting objects and creatures... Oh, right, okay. We can learn about recipes that we can make. Okay, but hear me out. The goat! I'll help you out. Trust me. I trust goat. I always trust goat. What do we need? That's not the button that I wanted. H. H is such a weird button. We have enough to make the unveiling powder. Great. Here we go. I trust him. You smear a handful of the glowing powder onto the runes of the doorway. A cool blue light emanates from the glyphs and envelops the entrance in its aura. Wytchwood is out. It came out on the 9th. Almost been 2 weeks. But hey, Octorocket, how's it going? You squint, attempting to discern the meaning of the letters. They appear to be in some obscure runic alphabet. What gibberish is this? It's like it was carved by a frightened hen. It must be written in the umbral tongue. Allow me to translate. Goat steps up to the doorway and pauses. Fruity, no. Well, what does it say? Goat swings its shaggy head towards you. Dark, matted wool obscures the creature's beady eyes. I cannot see. Unbelievable. What help are you then? I didn't come here to help. I came to collect. Now do something about this mop of hair, would you? Fine. I think I have some rusty old shears down in the garden. Okay, but look at him. Look at how cute he is. How can you not trust him? Look at him! Well, it doesn't help that some of the games, like, will tell you that there's a release for it, and then they don't adhere to it. But no, it's good. It's out now, and it's great, and we love it. Let's go cut a goat. Snip, snip. With much protesting in a nicked ear, you shear away clumps of dirty hair from the goat's eyes. Ah, much better. Oh my. Were you always this grotesque, or is my memory failing me as well? Watch your tongue, or I'll give it a good snip, too. Now, can you read the runes or not? Yeah, but look at him! He's perfect! Yes. Ahem. A space beneath, she sleeps alone. Tokens given up to the unknown. Fires of forest shall unroot the stone. Braziers burn and await the crone. Crone? Who's it calling a crone? And what are these tokens I'm to burn? Perhaps you ought to take a closer look at those braziers. How do you do it? We need a shiny stone, some frog slime, some dog hair, and a blue feather. Great. Dog hair, bird feather, frog slime, and a shiny stone. I don't suppose you swallowed up any of those things while I slept? But he's precious. I'll trust him enough for the lot of us. It's fine. Do not worry. I don't think so, but feel free to sift through this creature's leavings if you want to be completely sure. However, there's a whole world outside this little swamp, you know. See that gateway over there? The one with the lovely green flame? Goat motions to the far side of your yard. Guess a brisk walk in the woods would do these creaky joints some good. Too much time indoors is bad for the humors. Let's go. Let's go! And I know I've said it already, but look at her little run animation! It's very good. It's all very good. Snip, snip! Snipping and tearing, your shears make short work of the bramble. Great! Go in! Do the thing! You cut your way through the remaining vines and suddenly step onto cold stone dais. Time seems to flow backwards, or maybe it speeds forwards? An oppressive, star-filled void stretches as far as you can see. Though there is no wind or sound in this void, a warm fall breeze and the chirping of birds seizes your attention. A doorway. Sorry, Lamia's like laying right on the edge of the bed and I'm worried that she's gonna fall. Look at her. Lamia, you're gonna fall. Please, kitten. She's gonna biff it. She is the danger? Look, I'd believe that. I would believe that. Alright, where's this doorway? Also, give me this. Is there anything else? Good art is good. I like this game. We're here and I'm already ignoring everything to pick things up. This is fine and fantastic. Anyway, we're in a forest now. And there's lots to nab. The woman spins around on her heels so quickly she nearly hits you with her spyglass. Oh, you startled me! Can't you see I'm busy with my scientific research? Research? What is it you're looking for with that contraption? Why, the famed indigo-tufted forest lark. They're said to be native in these forests. And this forest, or native to this forest and this forest only. Have you seen one perchance? You glance upwards at the small bluebird perched atop the oblivious woman's hat. I haven't. Sorry. Shame. Well, it's never too late to open one's eyes to the wonders of the natural world. You never know what you'll discover. She points at a nearby woodland creature stuffing its cheeks with seeds. Take that squirrel, for example. Spend a few moments watching its behavior and you'll learn everything you need to know about it. Observation is key. Now, if you don't mind, I wouldn't want to miss making an exciting new discovery. The bluebird glances vacantly at you before pooping on the brim of the woman's hat. Great. Birdwatcher, faraway look in her eyes as she looks upon the faraway. What is that? That's a bird. Skittish songbird enjoys eating seeds. You can't really see it because Chad is covering it up, but it shows that weaknesses are snap trares. Snap traps. I'm trying to say snap trap and snap snare at the same time. It's fine. Reading's hard. But yeah, birdwatcher. I also appreciate how, like, individual everything here looks. What is this? Mushroom baby. Ragamuffin? Oi, lady! What's with that great stinking pot on your head? I would ask the same about all those stinking frogs in your trousers. Ah, you're just jealous. Boy fumbles between trying to wrangle all his frogs and swiping ineffectually at wayward fireflies with a shoddy-looking bug net. Juggling a little more than you can handle, eh? What exactly are you hoping to accomplish, flailing about like that? You daft! The frogs are hungry, so I gotta catch some of these fireflies to feed them. Ragamuffin's pretty alright. Takes another wild swing, missing his target entirely. Why don't you let me take a few of those frogs off your hands for a moment? That would let you swing that net properly. Oh, I see how it is. You're after me precious prizes. Well, how about I give you the net and you catch me some fireflies? Then maybe I'll think about trading you one of my froggies. Great. I am jealous of his frog trousers. Trouser frogs? Either or? Well, now we got... I caught a fairy. Got some fairy dust. Got some fireflies. This is great. Fantastic. Excuse me while I just aggressively swing this net. You're not frogs trying to be pond and beach buddies. Oh no. Nah, they will not. Surprise, both are their lane. We did. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Fuck fairies. They're mischievous little bastards. And they deserve to be popped into fairy dust. Well, these hoppers aren't gonna stick around and with empty bellies. The faster you catch those fireflies, the faster we can eat. I mean, the frogs can eat. I think Ragamuffin might be a frog as well. The boy shakes the jar, rattling the captured insects like pennies in a piggy bank. Surprise, he's 10 frogs in a pair of overalls. Reminds you of the fairies in the labyrinth. Oof. Oh, these are nice and juicy. The lads are gonna feast tonight. Now about our deal. You agreed to trade me one of your pets there? What deal? I don't remember making no deal. A frog squirms out of the boy's overalls and plops down by his feet with a wet slap. Dang it, there goes Slippery Pete! Takes a clumsy swipe at the amphibian, but the creature squeezes out of his grasp and bounces into the underbrush. Aw, shucks. I never liked him anyways. If you can catch him, he's all yours. Get the fuck over here, frog. We got frog slime. Thank you for your contribution, Slimy Pete. It is greatly appreciated. So I did some of the quests in this area, but not a ton. In fact, I don't think I finished Little Ragamuffin's quest over there the last time I played, so some of it's new, some of it's not. It's gonna be great. Hello, sir. Hey, you there! Give me a hand, would ya? With what? You seem to have everything under control. These stumps aren't going anywhere. My darn useless son was supposed to help me, but he's wandered off again. Probably to go bother frogs and eat bugs or some such nonsense. Anyway, I need help clearing away some of these dead logs. It's late in the season and the wood has started to rot. Just be careful of the purple mushrooms that sometimes grow inside. They'll make you powerful sleepy if you breathe in the spores. Basically, look, I test most of my games with Fruity to see if it's something that I want to stream or not. But this, I wasn't sure how, like, because it's touted as a crafting game, and I was like, I don't know how crafting heavy it is, and I don't know how, like, fun that would be to watch. But then we got about this far, and I was like, this is great, we gotta stop. I think Ragamuffin is Sun. I do think. As much as I do love poisonous fungi, I'm not much of a lumberjack. Nonsense! Anyone can experience the joys of splitting a fine stump. Here, my boy won't be missing this hatchet. Thanks! You have armed me, sir. I am dangerous witch. Just gonna explode everything in a single hit, and it's gonna be dope. Compared to this guy over here, who can't do anything, apparently. But yeah, I do believe Ragamuffin is Sun. Catching frogs and eating bugs or some such nonsense. You know how it is. Not NPCitis! I hear that that's a terminal condition. Not the breathing man. Why do you breathe so, sir? We'll come to him in a minute. Can't do anything without you there, and even if you are, I still can't do anything. It's a sad state of affairs, honestly. Kiln the man! Evening, ma'am. Come to check on the pottery? I'm afraid I just fired the kilns up, so they'll be a while still. Pottery? I was just admiring that fine canine over there. Point to a scraggly-looking mutt patrolling the yard. May I give her a petting? Oh, you can try, but I wouldn't if you value your fingers. She's a touch bitey today. Doesn't much like people going near the ovens. I have a way with animals. Surely I can find something to calm her down. There's Doggo. Look at the Doggo. There's Doggo right there. Guard dog, foul-tempered, snaps at anything that comes too close. Weaknesses, soporific morsel, and shears. Dog is weak to shears. Good to know. Do I have what I need to make? I don't, because we need this dog to leave me alone, first and foremost, while I steal some pottery. Don't mind me, dog. Don't mind me, dog. Angry dog. I just want to get to the point where I can make traps. I would like to make a trap. Let's explode some more logs, because why not? We will collect every piece of collectible item that we can possibly find. Just shove our pockets full of garbage. Oh man, oh jeez, I don't know about this. It was a good trot. I am Freddy from Scooby-Doo. I can't do anything wrong, only oopsies. You tap the man's shoulder and he nearly tumbles headfirst into the well. Oh, what's the matter with you? I could have fallen in. Then perhaps you shouldn't be leaning over the edge, like some wobbly stork. What's so interesting down this well anyways? Well, my grandpappy used to tell me that people drop all sorts of treasure down there. Just waiting for someone to dig it up. Myself a trowel and thought I'd give it a go. But the rope's out, and it looks awful dark and damp. I get goosebumps just thinking about all the ghoulies that might be lurking down there. Yeah, and farted. Where's Cyril when you need them? Ever consider that those ghoulies might get goosebumps thinking about you lurking up here in the sunlight? No, not really. Not sure if that makes me feel any better about them, actually. Maybe the business of treasure hunting isn't for me after all. Last I knew they were, streaming Skyrim in their Discord. Dota is a possibility as well, though. Here, why don't you take my trowel? I don't think I'll be needing it. You could go down into the well and see those ghoulies yourself. Thanks, buddy. This old well is deep and dark. You might be able to climb down into it, but the rope has long since rotted away. Reedy twine. Tossing like the strong homemade rope down into the darkness. Seems like it should support you without much fuss. Alright, I need my inventory because I need to move things around. Please and thank you. Put that down there. And then this bad breathing. Can we go in? I would like to go into the well so I can stop hearing this man just heavy breathe at me. Trial time. We got some clay. We got some gold. We got a shiny stone. Could collect some water with a jar. Give me the water. I do love... She's playing super hot. That's definitely what's happening over there. 100%. What was I saying? I love how, like, dramatic all of the actions in this game are. Just, like, things exploding. And everything getting all sparkly and cute. It's wild and it's great. Frog. Frog. And the music is good. It's all good. Hello. Oh, open. Locked. That seems incorrect. It's fine. It's fine. We'll just get all... What are you? Something stirs inside, but does not emerge. Darkened nook, a cozy burrow for a creature who prefers to be left alone. I can do a hydrate. I got Big Juice over here with me. Assuming I can actually get it open. Thank you for the hydrate, Emmy. Everyone else also hydrate. Do the thing. Water. Good water. Where are my things? Where's my frog slime and my shiny stone? It's just Big Juice. I'm not looking for nothing. Just Big Juice. Maybe the real treasure is the hydration we felt all along. I'm gonna make some of these. And then we're gonna make 2 of these. And then... I know that we need... couple more. Just to have. It's important to have some snap traps. Big Juice was the treasure all along, it's true. I'd be lost without Big Juice, honestly. What if I need to be away from this man? I cannot stand his bad sounds. It's just too much. If I put a snap trap, that's not where I wanted to put it, but that's okay. Look, there's a bird coming in. Do it. And it has exploded. Bird exploded. There was supposed to be a noise there, but there wasn't. Hey, squirrel. Hey, squirrel. There was that good noise. There was that good explosion. Nice. Are you back on your regular work schedule then? They're good sounds. I don't know what you're talking about. They're very good noises. I keep forgetting where my craft menu is. We got the soporific morsel. Dog. Eat it! Eat it! Dog is sleeping. We got a sleepy dog. Now I'm gonna snip off some hair from the dog, and it's great. Dog doesn't die, you just put dog to sleep! Oh, you took the week off? Nice, good. Enjoy your time off. Frog slime, blue feather, shiny stone, and dog hair. That's all I need for these braziers. I should head back home now. This is all new to me now. All of it. But we are gonna do this. Good. I mean, the trap definitely had blood around it. That's true. But I just wanted to clarify. We have not killed a dog. No dog murders here. I want the soot sprite. I would like the soot sprite. You can catch the soot sprites. The squirrel did get annihilated. That is true. But that is different than a dog. I think we can all agree. There is more to the page than just dog. We can update it even further. Travis, I really appreciate you doing that, honestly. It's something that I try to do as well, like if I've played a game, and notice anything on the pages, but I usually like check it after I've played the game. Because I don't necessarily want to spoil myself for some of the pages that are a little more well done. What is that? Okay. Imp eye nuts. Mom, my nuts! Mom, get my nuts! Okay, I think that's everything that's here. Let's go open up this brazier. Let's go! Let's go! Why does Pottery Person look like Gaston? No one pots as good as Gaston. For no particular reason. Fruity. 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 Are you plotting? What are you plotting? Why are you plotting? Alright, let's go say hi to our goat friend. It's been a minute. Also, there's more ingredients around here. Shall we? Brazier awaits an offering. Give it that blue feather. Hi, Bunno. Can't forget the one, too. How's it going, friendo? How are you doing? A strong force pulls the feather down into the large basin like a magnet. Bursts into a bright flash of light as cold flames engulf its essence. Let's put in the dog hair. Dog hairs take a moment to fall from your fingers, fluttering down into the basin one by one. The fur bristles into foul-smelling coils before erupting into a cold green flame. But yeah, how's it going? How are you doing? Frog slime. Gently squeeze the globs of wet slime from your satchel into the basin. The mucus bubbles and pops before cold flames reduce it to a fine, odorless ash. And the shiny stone. You drop the stone into the basin with a resounding chiming sound. Fractures trace across the pebble before it cracks open and a cold green light swallows it within its flames. It's a good day for sleepiness. The emerald flames of the braziers play strange shadows across the stone doorway. You watch as fingers of shadow crawl up the rock face and crack open the solid granite like stale bread. The stone crumbles away into darkness, revealing a yawning stairway descending down into the cold earth. After you, madam. Thanks. Thanks, goat. Let's go. Got the achievement.
The wizard
first things
is never
first.
late.
Hi, Sarah. How are you
Nor
doing?
is
How's
he
it
early.
going?
He arrives precisely when he means to.
Surprise, lady. Encased inside a gilded crystal coffin lies the body of a young woman. Though she sleeps in an enchanted slumber, her ageless features express a deep sadness. Right? All the friends are showing up. But yeah, how are you doing today, Sarah? How's it going? The sound of cloven hooves echo against the marble floor as the goat comes to your side. Quite something, isn't she? Do you remember bringing her to me? I brought her to you? Why? Who is she? I haven't the faintest idea. All I know is you brought her lifeless form to my doorstep and begged me to save her soul. Save her from what? And why is she sleeping? It's very good. Why, from the 12 wicked souls whom you said wronged her in life, villains had deceived her and cheated her, broke her soul, or her spirit. And as we agreed, here she will sleep until our contract is fulfilled, until you bring me those 12 wicked souls. What? I remember no such contract. Our pact is binding, regardless of what you do or do not remember. At the goat's words, you feel something hard and dark locked away in the depths of your heart. It speaks the truth. And just why should I do your bidding? Seems like a lot of bothersome trouble to me. What do I care about some sleeping beauty? Bring me the 12 souls and I will release the sleeping maiden from her slumber. Our agreement will be fulfilled. Yep, basically. Who knows? In time, you may even remember why you brought her to me in the first place. Or you can simply return to the comfort of your little hovel, where you will waste away until the weeds grow so thick that not even your shears will be able to cut you free, and your mind will stay as empty as that grimoire of yours. But it's a big decision to make so hastily. Why don't you sleep on it? A heavy weight fills your marrow. Your eyelids flutter, barely able to stay open. What have you done to me? I can't stay awake. I take a nap right here. Oh no. And we have awoken. Okay. I guess back outside? Back outside. I mean, we gotta do it, right? Good morning. I trust you've made up your mind. Will you collect the souls I've asked for, or would you prefer to stay stuck in this festering swamp? Alright. No need to get your horns in a twist. I'll do as you ask. You haven't given me much choice. Splendid! As it happens, I can already sense the first 4 souls we seek. 2 are in the forest, another in the swamp to the north, and the last in the fields to the south. Could you be more specific? Near a shapely stump? Perhaps inside a tree with a face? By an overgrown mushroom grove? What do I look like, a compass? Get out there and look for yourself. Alright, new chapter! The Sleeping Maiden. If that isn't our girlfriend, I'm gonna be very upset. I forgot I forgot that was our goal for that has to have been for my lovely daughter. It does work for a lot of games. That is true. mildly caught me off guard.
Excuse me? Mommy? Sorry. Mommy? Sorry. Mommy? Sorry.
Mommy? Yeah, it's on every platform, I think, at this point. PC, Switch, Xbox, PlayStation. All of them. Are any of these other ones open yet? They are not. To the forest! Let's go! Let's go! But yeah, everyone should pick it up and play it. It's precious and cute. And a little spooky, and we love it. Big vibes. Oh, sorry, I just saw our goals up here. Our actual goals? I'm gonna move y'all down a little bit. Gonna move me down also a little bit. There we go. I mean, probably get the right refrigerator. I don't know that your refrigerator could play it, but probably. Is this gonna be the new, but can it play Doom sort of a situation? But let's see. The 4 souls that we have to collect are the bear, the ox, the leech, and the snake. Hey, can you let me in? Hi, dingus! Oi, stop right where you are! And dongus! Yeah, no one but soldiers are allowed into the Lakeshore camp. And you don't look like no soldier. Yeah, that's not a standard issue helmet. I just came to visit my, son? I don't think so. Captain said no visitors, so buzz off. Yeah, unless you're the quartermaster, you ain't getting in. Hey, where is that nervous wreck anyway? He ought to be back with the shipment of honey by now. Great. I think it's the name that the witch has given them, is my assumption. But how great would it be if their names were Dingus and Dongus? I'd be here for it. Alright, well, we can't go there. What are you? Ouch! That's a goblin! Talks big, but is cowardly at heart. I need to make a dreadful doll? How do I do that? What are these? Grain from the fields. Hopper legs from the fields. And rope? Sewing kit. It needs needles, though, from the swamp. I need a skeeter snoot. Again, this witch's goals. I want to get to a point in my life where I will just name random strangers who annoy me. No, 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 no! Why is everyone so mad at me? There's a bait stick and some snap traps. Great! Okay. Let's get some play, I guess. Come here, frog. Come here, frog! Frog. There's a lady over there. Hold on. Hello, lady? Why are you sad? Lady? Weeping maiden! You approach a young woman weeping sorrowfully into her palms. She catches her breath for a moment and looks out longingly over the placid lake. Oh, my sweet songbird, why have you forsaken me to a life devoid of your love? Tears well up in her eyes as she buries her face once again. You consider leaving this melodrama well enough alone, but something about the poor girl reminds you of the maiden slumbering under your house. You draw out a tattered handkerchief and offer it to the maiden. There, dry your eyes, my child, and tell old Granny what the matter is. Oh, thank you. You're very kind. She takes a cloth and daintily dabs the corners of her eyes. Swallowing the last of her sobs, she composes herself before sighing wistfully. It's my beloved, such a sweet and romantic man with the voice of a meadowlark. I get it. He dumped you. Well, don't worry. There's plenty of other frogs in the swamp. What? No! He loves me, and I him. Though our families would never allow us to be together, he'd come and sing outside my balcony every night. One night, we both vowed to escape and meet by this lake. Her lip quivers. I waited and waited under the waning moon, even past the morning sun, but he still didn't reveal himself. Tough break. Maybe he just wasn't that into you? The woman snaps at you with sudden vitriol. He would never abandon me. We're destined to be together. She slips back into a melancholic gaze out over the lake. Even now, I can still hear the beautiful melody of his lute coming from across the water. Over the dull sounds of lapping waves and quacking waterfowl, faint notes of some faraway stringed instrument whisper through the reeds. Oh, I hear it too. Maybe you aren't just mad in love. It's coming from somewhere in the middle of the lake. He's out there somewhere. I just know it. She crumples into another dramatic bout of inconsolable tears. No, I'm sure it's just some echo bouncing off the shore. I'll go find where this tardy bard of yours has run off to. The snake! Oh! It's snake murder time. The music seems strongest on this shore, but even here you can't quite place the source. It seems to be emanating from the half-sunken ruin poking out of the lake's waters. Maybe that fool bard's hiding way out there? But I swim as well as hens fly. Suddenly some unseen voice chitters mockingly into your ear. Ho ho hee hee, the musical man you'll never see. You spin around, but no one is there. Just a nattering laugh bouncing on the wind. Who's there? Show yourself, spirit! Elusive pixie! Legend tells of a strange whispers from nowhere hereabouts. Perhaps this is their source? Unveiling powder and a catching net. Okay, I've got the catching net. We need the powder, which I think I have the supplies to make. Should also probably be a mending poultice. Reveal! I have caught the pixie. Look at his little belly button, though! I love him. I love him. You snap your hand around the elusive creature and squeeze. Ah! Let me go, you knobbly pot! You're crushing the life out of me! You trifling little pest, what do you know about this music? Music? What music? All's I hear is the slapping waves and the peeping birdies. Your wrinkly old ears must be full of bugs. Don't you play smart with me. I'll pop off your head like a daisy. Ah! You mean that music? It's the sound of the snake's traveling circus. I thought everyone knew that. Circus stays still, but the door's the thing that travels. You see? And right now the door's out on that lake, but you'll never get in. You give the wretched sprite a good shake, and a shower of glittering dust sheds off its wings. Tell me how to cross the lake, or I'll make a necklace from your teeth. Ugh! Only Fey folk can show the way. Dirty fairies built a bridge. Kept all the big folk out, unless the snake invites them in. You're a fairy, aren't you? Where's this bridge? Ha! We're a pixie! Not one of those flamby pan-beat mushroom herders. Besides, the bridge is invisible to big stompers like you. Creature peers over your shoulder and waves its tiny arms. Oh, look! There's a fairy now! Why don't you ask her? You turn to look, but in your moment of distraction, the pixie sinks its sharp teeth into your finger. Ouch! You sneaky little blighter! Springing free from your grasp, the slippery monster chitters a laugh and vanishes in a cloud of smoke. You look down at your dust-covered hand. Fairy or not, this bridge must be around here somewhere. Right. Thief! Thief! Humble Basin. Once perhaps part of a lovely plaza, now little more than a bird bath. Okay. Bridge where? Where bridge? I hear them. I hear more of those stupid pixies. Shall we reveal? we got a couple more. I don't know what to do with them at the moment. What else? Can I make anything else? Tempting but deadly morsel for meat-eating critters, useful against newts, dragonflies, and bats. Okay. I can't make that yet. We can't make that yet. What is this? What a pretty tree. It's a pixie nest. An assemblage of detritus and face saliva, but one that some tiny beings call home. I see. I understand. Don't understand. Okay. Gotta be like right up on some of this stuff. I don't want to go up there because there's goblins. I don't have any way of stopping them from doing a murder on me. Which is unfortunate. But it is what it is. Goblins! Can I just catch them even without revealing them? No, I have to reveal them first. Okay, good to know. I don't... What are you? The Dryad. This tree seems particularly angry about something. Maybe everything. I can make it less angry with a cinder box? Are we burning the Dryad? Doesn't seem ideal. I need more fireflies to deal with this Dryad. What is this? Fairy totem, an inscrutable construction of the Fae folk. Its purposes? As mysterious as they are. Okay, well we gotta get in there. What'd you update it with this time? Gotta fill us in. I need to know. Where was that boy? Tormenting Dryads with fire. I mean, we don't have confirmation yet. Maybe we just bring out the cinder box and that's enough to scare them away. Maybe we don't actually set them on fire. We don't know yet. Where was that? Where was Ragamuffin hanging out? Was it over here? That's fair. Alright. Let's explode some fairies. Get some fireflies. Steal some mushrooms. Oh, there was this mushroom baby. That we can do a big old chop on. Look, I technically haven't set anyone on fire yet, alright? You're also haven't tortured anyone just yet.
4 months watching your cute FAAAACR.
Fun-o! 4 months? Thank you for the subscription, friend. I'd super duper appreciate it. Also, has it been that long already? This is one of those situations where it's like, it feels like it's been so much longer, but also not that long. Wah! Wild. But yeah, thank you, Bono, for the tier 1 sub. You precious, wonderful bean. Yeah, don't eat the mushrooms. I'm not sure that these are the safe kind of mushrooms to eat. Emmy, don't do it. Don't do it. You're gonna die. Don't do it. Yeah, I know you can do it. Hey, do the thing. I don't trust Mario. That man is a war criminal. I don't trust him. Alright, what do we... That's not what I wanted. I wanted this because I've got enough to make this. We got a cinder box. Y'all ready to go torment a dryad? It's gonna be great. Ooh. Not giant, Emmy. Where? Dryad. I think I've just angered him even more. I'm so sorry. He did drop some fruit though. He'll cool off eventually. Okay. This is fine. This is fine. He'll cool off eventually. It's fine. It's fine. Food! Good, good, good. Food is important. I don't want to be here. Yeah, that was 100% his happy dance. No one needs to worry. He's fine. He'll be fine. No, I don't... I assume I have to get rid of all of those, the fairy totems, right? To potentially reveal the bridge. However...
Bees?
That didn't... Okay. Nope. Nope, that didn't go up. That didn't go well. Bees. Bees! I need to heal. We are healed. I guess it's time to go south? To the swamp? Question mark? Because we need skeeter snoots, right? And you get those from the swamp. But I need skeeter snoots to make the dolls that scare away the goblins. Who are you? Oh, hello there. Sorry, I think I managed to get most of this debris off the road. Looks like you made a fine wreck. What on earth happened to your cart? Yes, well, you see, I was sent on a very important mission by order of my captain. The bear? The bear, you say? Sort of mission. It's my job to make sure the Lakeshore camp is well stocked with provisions, but most importantly, a steady supply of honey for the bear's favorite mead. I was just on my way back from the apiary with a cart full when a deer or something darted out of nowhere. Yeah, the bear! We gotta go do a murder on the bear. Jostled my poor mule so bad that she broke her bridle and ran off. My own heart nearly leapt out of my rib cage. Piled the darn cart right into the ditch she did. Now every barrel is smashed and I can't bring myself to report back empty-handed. The bear will have my guts for garters, I'm sure of it. This bear sounds like quite a brute. Oh, you don't know half of it. If he doesn't get his honey mead, heads will roll. Maybe you could lend me a hand? I can't very well put this broken cart back together. No, nothing like that. But could you take a message to the sergeant of the Lakeshore camp? He's a reasonable fellow. Let him know what happened and maybe he can get me out of this bind. You can get to the Lakeshore camp if you follow the road the northwest of here. I need to stay with the cart and assess the damages. Oh, dear. You and the other guy make the exact same noises. Are you related? Okay, well we can do that later. I want to go to the swamp. Is this the swamp? Or are these the meadows? These kind of look like meadows. Good day to you. Good day to you too, sir. We got green. You love to see it. Also, there's a grasshopper. I am trying to catch the grasshopper, and it is very fast. Please. Yeah, no, 100%. Look, you can't argue with that logic in this game. They make the same noises. They're both colored oddly, as in one is blue and one is green. Not typically colors you see people in. They gotta be related. I think they're also both cowards, so like, gotta be related. See what I'm saying? You dig? I'm gonna steal all of this man's grain. Stop trying to, like, smash the crows! What are you doing? Alright. We got some grasshopper legs. That's great. Oh. Nope, that's just a flower phasing in between. Are you a giant cucumber? Vegetal farmer. A hefty gourd stands before you, wiping beads of dew off his bumpy forehead. Tilts up the brim of his hat and greets you with what you interpret as a smile. I love him. Welcome to my farm, stranger. What brings you out here? How's it growing, farmer? Oh, you know, not so bad. Trying my best to win the harvest competitions this year. I guess he's German now. Well, you look to be making good progress. I'm sure you'll be a shoo-in for the blue ribbon. You would think so, wouldn't you? But every year, without fail, that sour ox takes the prize. No matter how hard I work, I can't seem to outgrow his crops. Careful now, you're beginning to sound like a sore loser. Yeah, not sore loser. I just think it's quite suspicious, don't you? Not a Dracula! Not a Dracula. How is he holding that piece of grain? He's stabbed it into his face. He's got a little hole, probably from like a bug or something, and he's just like, I'm just gonna put this little piece of hay right in here. He can be a Dracula. That's fine. How the fuck does Dracula sound? I've only got a German accent in my brain now. Last year, the ox and his family grew the largest corn cobs I've ever seen. I don't know if that's right, but that's what we're going with. I was only barely able to get second place because of my own little helpers. It was plague. He motions to animated turnips and potatoes busy with menial farm work. But this year, his crops are larger than ever before. Even though his family is nowhere to be seen, it doesn't make any sense to me. You do you, Emmy. I'm Dracula, blah! But this year, there we go. He's working the fields all by himself? What happened to his family? That's the fish, nope. Blah! Please, I can't do this. I'm Dracula. That's the fishy part. No one knows. They just disappeared one day, and the ox has said nothing. That does sound suspicious. Perhaps I'll go and ask him myself. Yeah, his farm is down to the southwest. You can't miss it. I must get back to work. Veggies won't grow themselves, you know. It's hard to do a Dracula accent when everything is emphasized to be a German accent, like a bad German accent. So forgive me. We gotta do a chop. That is so scary. Why are they like this? I hope you don't mind that I'm doing a murder on your children. Reminder, we do have the voice redemptions. They're not, like I said earlier, they're not going to be particularly great today. But they are there if you want them. We can give it a shot. It'll either be great because it's spot on, or it's gonna be great because it's so bad. Lazy grass! What are you? Unusual hay bale buried in the haze. Secret waits to be discovered. Upon closer inspection, this mountain of hay appears to have been deliberately woven into an intricate wickerwork structure. So I didn't know. Gotta run. Gotta go. Carefully pluck a single piece of straw from its center, and the whole bundle begins to swirl and unravel until a gaping vortex opens before you. Hey, shortcuts! I appreciate that you just have to find them and you don't have to, like, add any extra items or anything to it. Look, I've worked at daycare. I understand. Kids are delightful, but some days. Yo, typing on mobile is garbage. It's all good. We can more or less autocorrect at as we're reading stuff. Usually. There's sometimes though. Look, gnomes are scary because they're also part of the Fae. Natural tinkerer, but stubbornly refuses to read any instruction manuals. Okay, but what are... It doesn't have any known weaknesses. Perhaps I can puzzle him somehow? Okay, well we're gonna walk away. I wanted to see if I could, like, explode him now, but we can't. We did play Puzzle Agent. It's true. We understand that gnomes are scary. Could collect some water with a jar. Okay, but hear me out. Ball of fuzz with aspirations of chickenhood. Plump and happy hen. No. They're not great. They're not great. They're a type of Fae. It's like... I just squeezed an egg out of that chicken. They're on the slightly less mischievous side of being Fae. Compared to, like, pixies and fairies. They're fine, but they're still Fae, and I just have a no Fae policy as a general rule when it comes to creatures. Just no fairies. I can't outriddle a fairy, I think is where it usually comes out from. It's true, you can't. Why are there bandits here? Can I talk to you? No, you're angry. You are an angry man. Unpleasant sword expresses it primarily through stabbing. Feel that, buddy. Eschewing the oblivious charm of its clucking cousin, this spell is absolutely terrifying. Its weaknesses are digestive tablets. We're gonna blow up a fucking turkey. What do we need? Snail shell, eye of newt, goblin snot. Okay. This is a direct form of communication. Hi, look at these pumpkins. Look at this pumpkin, though. Whoa! No! This is not what I was expecting. Pumpkin Jack, an unfortunate byproduct of harvest magics. We need a snag vine. An effective snare at some distance. It binds tighter as it holds. Useful against pumpkin jacks and stick totems. Stick totems? I need him to stop following me. Have you considered not following me? Have you considered not following me? Stop! pumpkins are terrifying. We have learned. I don't think he can be a friend. I think he just wants to do a murder on me. What is there anything here? Fairy circle Fey energies converge on this spot, but to what end is unclear. Look, we can love him from a distance. I need him to not be near me because he's gonna scream and explode me, and I don't appreciate being exploded. I don't appreciate being exploded. Oh, I don't like it here. What are you? A pheasant, not entirely unlike a chicken, though to the aesthetic preference of some. I can't do anything with it. Actually, no, because it didn't label a snare trap as, or a snap trap as a weakness. Okay, that's fine, I guess. I just wanted to go to the swamp, but we ended up in the fields, and then we got chased by pumpkins. And it was all unfortunate, and not great. Not these kinds of screaming and exploding, though. Okay, can we steal those? Hey, you got more things I can do a murder on? I don't know that they understand that I'm here to kill them. Okay, it's fine. It's all fine. Can we just continue south to get to the swamp? Is that how this works? Have I just not gone far enough south? No, this appears to just be more farm. Hello? No, we go up. Okay. Brain. Oh my goodness. Give me an egg. Another dog. Farm dog! This pooch is barking, biting, this pooch is barking. Biting ears are well behind him. Oh, okay, I understand. Hi, doggo. Oh! The ox is actually an ox. And he's a stompy lad. Okay. Okay. Alright. Well, I'll talk to him in a minute. I am gonna rob him first. Hi! Hey, this is private property. What are you doing trespassing on my land? Why, I just came to admire the glow of your crops, Master Ox. I heard you produce the most bountiful produce in the land. Well, you heard right. I work day in and day out till my hands are raw and my back is broken. You won't find a finer farm anywhere else. Sure to take first prize at the harvest festivals again. You and your family must be so proud. Yak spits on the tilled soil. Those lazy louts never understood the pride and joy of devoting oneself to the land. What good's a family that gripes about hard labor? We'd have never won any of those competitions if it wasn't for my sacrifice. Oh, you're one of those. Where's your family then? Can't help but notice you're working all by yourself. If you must know, those damnable bandits out by the South Bridge stormed in the place one night and stole them away. Bandits? You don't seem very concerned about getting them back. I'm better off. For all I know, they could have been already ransomed off for fertilizer. But if you're so worried, why don't you go talk to those bloody brigands yourself? Now get your big nose off my fields, or I'll toss you in the compost heap. Sir, I don't have a nose. Why is your scarecrow moving?
So we came here to burgle your turts.
We are definitely gonna burgle some turrets. It's just eerie, easy to see why crows don't like these. Why is it wiggling, though? Also, I keep hearing him stomping around, and, like, it scares me. I think he's gonna, like, step on me. Squash me like a bug or something. Terrifying. And I will be collecting every single grasshopper leg that we come across, because we need them. All of them. Every last one of them. Alright. Well, we gotta figure out how to deal with... Oh, there's another changeling in there. Come here. Gotta figure out how to deal with the bandits. We do need to go talk to the bear. Or the general, or whatever. Where the bear is. We gotta go to the swamp! That is what I want to do! Same! You can just carry it endlessly, and that's awesome. I wonder, there might be, like, a limit to how many of, like... It's like, our inventory only shows the things that I've, like, I use. Our active items as well as, jars and things like that.
Nikki201 is raiding with a party of 2. Kaysh and the gang welcome you.
Hello, Nikki and friends! How is it going? How are you doing? Thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. Doing some blade and sorcery. Nice! How was it? Are you enjoying it? But yeah, thank you for the raid. I really, really appreciate it. How is it going? Can we steal some of this stuff? Take some of the things. Make it happen. Hello? There we go. Farmer, do you have anything to say? You have absolutely nothing to say. You do have a carrot for a nose, though. Okay. But yeah, welcome in, Raiders. My name is Kaysh. I'm an LGBTQ+, QIA+ streamer who focuses on horror and mystery games. Playing a cute little game today called, Wytchwood. It's precious and lovely and spooky cute. Definitely more mellow than we usually do, but it's an afternoon stream for me, so it's gonna be chill. I offer content warnings for every single game that I play, if you ever need those. This game didn't really have any that we could find, so just heads up on that. We do explode a lot of animals over here. It's fine. Aw, that's totally okay. Sometimes it's good to just call it once you start getting tired. Good for you for knowing your limits. But yeah, it's precious and sweet. We're collecting things and doing things. Alright. But yeah, if you need to take a break, you or who, the people who come in with the raid need to take a short break at all, feel free to do so. We'll be here for another half hour or so. But it's important to get up, stretch, get some food, get something to drink if you haven't yet. But yeah. Can chill out, hang out. Good fun time. But yeah, thank you for the raid, Nikki. I appreciate it. Let's see. I just wanna find the dang swamp. That's all I want. Why is it so difficult to find the swamp? Chest. I am robbing everyone, and they cannot stop me. Alright. Also, where was our portal? I think that's a different swamp? I'm thinking that they're gonna, like, attack me, since everything seems to want to attack me. I mean, we can try it there, but I don't think there was, like, really anywhere else we could explore. I don't know. We can try. Oh, no. No, we're... Who's that? Sir? Okay, that's fine. I assumed that it was gonna be, like, a different swamp. One not inhabited by us. We need dreadful dolls to take care of the bandits, which means we have to figure out which swamp it is that we need to go to, because we gotta get those skeeter snoots. The snoots of the skeeters. But also, Um, totally cool. Go get a drink. Like I said, if you gotta get up and do a stretch or get some food, get some water, get whatever, do it. That's important to us. That you take care of yourself. Oh, man, scared me. Can we? I guess we could also, since we're running off in this direction anyway, we could probably drop off the note for the quartermaster. I could also just check our quests, right? Leech in the Swamp. Sick House of the Swamp seems a final destination for those in its care. Where is that, though? Into the Decay? Ah! North. We have to go super north. There it is. Keep forgetting that there's a map. Let's go super north! Let's go. You know what? We are kind of low on meaty morsels. Do it, bird. Thank you. We're also low on feathers, so I might as well set some of these traps. No, leave me alone, goblin! This is why we didn't go here, because the goblin got me and I got scared. I understand. We have found the swamp, I believe. Yep, because there's leeches and skeetos. Great. Bloodsucker! Tiny biter, though known to have some medicinal uses, we need spirit salts. We need smoke pellet and the logger's hatchet for the skeeters. Darn swamp is full of them. That with the blood of anything they can catch up to. That's okay, Sarah. Go to bed. Sleep is more important than video games. But thank you for the lurk. Thanks for hanging out, and I hope you get some good rest. Okay. Shall we see how to make what we need to make to kill these things? Smoke pellets! I do have what we need for that. We don't have a sewing kit for that yet. And I don't have embalming salts, which you get from the swamp and the docks. I need more vines for... Oh, there's vines. Okay, this is not ideal. Let's put that like that. Come here. All of you, come here. And then a hatchet. Perfect. Perfect. We've done it. We got some blood. Bug Iker. What are you? Poisonous newt. Exploiting its ravenous hunger is the only way one might secure it without touching it. Not the Reptar slippers. Just go to your local Joann's or any other hobby shop, really. Skeeter snoots! Skeeter snoots! We got the skeeter snoots! Hey, do you want this? Do you want this? Come and get it! The newt has exploded. We got some eye and newt. Everything is great. Ah. Makes sense. Gotta get on it, though. Those Reptar slippers gotta get fixed. It is important. Get up. What are these? Toxic thistle. I like the swamps. I like it here. Can we explode that a little bit. I should consider making more of those bait sticks. But also, are you okay? Who's there? My eyes have gone milky. Please come a little closer, sister. Don't believe we've met before. Why do you call me sister? I don't need sight to see someone who's also signed a dark contract. The woman looks blindly through you, though you can sense her focus. Contract? So you've had dealings with that damnable goat too? What sort of pact did he rope you into? Oh, you know how it is. I was young and he weren't no goat when I knew him. We used to dance naked under the blood moon and raise the dead to frighten dull country folks. Ah, but it's ancient history now. Old age comes for us all, and eventually we've got to hang up the sacrificial dagger and settle down into the comforts of retirement. I love old woman. I love this woman. Nice. I know the feeling. I miss my cozy chair and little fireplace. Seems like a fine spot you've got here. Well, it's not all posies and pumpernickel. She clutches worriedly at the moth-eaten blanket in her lap. What's rattled your bones? Maybe I can help. It's my dear old husband. Handsome chap, although a bit clumsy. He had a tumble trying to weed out some swamp traps from the yard. Awful things like to snap at your toes when you're not looking. Anyways, he twisted his ankle pretty bad and went off to the sick house to have it looked at. But that was a few days ago. He should have been back by now. And these legs haven't worked right in decades, so I can't even go check up on him. I've been so worried. I even thought about making another contract. Don't you dare. You just wait here. I'll go find him and see what the bother is. Thank you, sister. The sick house is down the road to the west. Be careful of the critters along the way. They've got a taste for blood. Great. New chapter, the leech. Great. Can we open this and steal her stuff? What are you? Doesn't care much for rushing about. It's just a snail. This is just a snail. Okay. It's pretty good. It's a drake. Not a full-grown dragon, but just as mean. I need to give him a snackerfice. I mean, it's very, very, craft heavy. Those are bodies up there. Okay. But not in any way that's like, as somebody who gets really bored with crafting games, I think they've balanced it out very well. And like, combat is reliant on what you make, but it's more just like inventory puzzles, if anything. And I don't hate that. Quite appreciate it, actually. Place of power, but to what end? Adorned obelisk, ornately dressed, but for what and by whom? Gotta give him a sacrifice. Sometimes we all need a good sacrifice every once in a while. We are not unlike the drake that only wishes to be fed. What are you? What are you? Stick totem? Someone built this effigy to pay respect to the moon. The moon, in turn, has given it life. Stick totem, please. Don't be this way. Can we interact with this? Okay. Thick moss growing on this massive fallen trunk seems to recoil at your touch, revealing strange etchings on the bark below. Slowly, a spark of swirling energy seeps forth from the waterlogged wood until an ethereal doorway opens before you. We got more shortcuts. We love that. Get that food. Eating is important. Remember to take care of yourselves. Please and thank you. Alright. Can we do an explosion? What are you? A troll. An impassable hulk, unless perhaps he likes you. Can I talk to you? Fat troll sits squarely in the middle of the bridge, busy scratching an itch on his back with a fallen tree. His unmatched girth blocks the path forward. Out of the way, you big galoot! Shifts his mass and releases a loud fart as you attempt to circumvent him. Oof. Fine. Keep your bridge. Come back when the vapors have dissipated. Troll, please. Troll, please. I need to get past. Nah, they'll still grow. No matter what you do. Alright. So we got a farting troll to deal with. Great. Don't... Oh, she said that the sick house was to the west, right? Here it is. I mean, we could offer some. We gotta give the turkeys the digestive tablets, though. You know.
Oh, jeez. I shitted. And farted.
That sounds fun, Bono. Have fun with your D&D session. That's 100% what the troll just said. But also, sketchy. Hey, welcome in. How's it going, friends? Elferson. Very good elf name. Very on the nose. Who is this? Hello, nurse. Hold on now. The sick house is full to the brim and festering with disease. Don't you know there's a deadly plague going around? I'm aware, nurse. Oh, I know. Like you say, it's the first I've heard of it. Oh, it's terrible. It affects the young and old, the healthy and infirm alike. We're so swamped with patients, I can barely catch my breath. So what are you doing out here? Shouldn't you be inside tending to the ill? We've just got so many bodies piling up. Someone has to bury them before they spread the sickness further. She drops her voice to a whisper, looking ashamed. It's gotten so crowded I've even had to dump some in the swamp. That seems unethical. But don't worry, the leech is inside working her miracles on the other patients. They couldn't be in better hands. The leech? That's the doctor of this place? The best in the land. I don't dare think about how much worse it would be without her skills. I need to speak to her. I'm checking up on someone who came through here. Sorry, I cannot in good conscience allow a person of your, years to enter such an infectious space without a proper inoculation. But with all the patients, we're low on medicine, and I'm afraid I don't have any to spare. What's a simple booster shot made from anyway? There's plenty of medicinal ingredients right here in the swamp. I'll go get them myself. Well, it's a pretty basic prescription. If you bring me the components, I'll be able to mix and administer it. Then you can go inside. What do you need? I need 3 milligrams of bug ichor extract, 5 grams of toxic thistle powder, and some lazy grass to numb the pain. Hey, I think I got all that. Yeah, I got all that. Place a sloshing jar of ichor in the nurse's hands. She inspects it suspiciously, but doesn't ask where it came from. It came from a skeeter, in case you wanted to know. Here's some toxic thistle. Snap off a few spiny thistles and pass them to the nurse. She is careful not to prick herself on the sharp ends. And here's the lazy grass. Nurse takes the dried grasses you have been so careful to keep intact and immediately crushes them into powder. The nurse nods at you, gathering all the ingredients into a small, hand-sized mortar. You hold your breath as she mashes everything into a slimy, stinky liquid. Not the most pleasant stuff, but I can assure you it beats growing lumps where no lumps should be. Speak for yourself. One can never have enough lumps. The nurse shrugs at you, sucking up the bubbling mixture into an oversized syringe. She gestures for you to hold out your arm. After stabbing it into your flesh several times, she fails to find any veins with the point of the needle. Sorry, you seem to have some strange physiology? Give it here, I'll do it. You seize the injector and jab it into your arm without further fuss. Cool sensation climbs into your fingertips. You doubt the medicine will have any effect, but at least it should make the nurse happy. There, I feel much better. Can I go inside now? I'm gonna take her lumps. It's fine. Oh, yes, of course. You should be immune to the plague for the time being. Just be quick. The leech is very busy. Thanks, ma'am. Okay, but I love her. Okay, but I love her? The doctor slithers from one patient to another, checking off little boxes on a clipboard. Found under her wide-brimmed hat, she appears to notice you enter, but pays you no mind. You must be the leech. I was hoping you could help me find one of your patients. Do you have the symptoms? Crackling of the bones, oozing eyes, skin rot, perhaps a yellow liver. Let's get you examined. Leech extends her toothy snout, prodding your body and searching for some hidden malignancy. You slap her away with a swift palm. If it's sickness you're looking for, you won't find it on me. My dear, we are all sick with something. Whether it's a broken heart or a broken arm, we all suffer in one way or another. I love her so much. Peer through her tightly wrapped garments and see a deep darkness underneath. Despite the warmth in her words, there is a sense of hunger and urgency in her tone. I am here to heal, to mend, to put all of your troubles at ease. Now tell me, what ails you? I told you already, I'm in perfect health. I'm here to find someone, a man who came through with a sprained ankle. Half the patients who come to me have a twisted this or a broken that. Before the pox set in, that is. Can you be more specific? What does he look like? Oh, I'm not sure. Well then, how do you expect me to help you? Come back to me when you know who you're looking for. Will you look about the sick house at the coughing, wheezing, bedridden souls? Perhaps some of them will be able to identify the missing husband. I miss that man with the beard. You don't know where that short fellow got to, eh? It's the beardy guy you're looking for? There was a fellow with dark hair, dark eyes. They're sleeping. Looks like they could use the rest. Ugh! A husband. Yeah, he had a darker complexion than me. This place is disgusting. Can't find the short guy? Sorry, I can't help you. You don't know where that short fellow got to, eh? It's the beardy guy you're looking for. Give me your things. This patient just stares into the distance, silent. You? Leave me alone. Alright, sir. What are you? Wine? Thick, dark wine that clings to the inside of the bottle. Unknown weakness. Well, do you have any better idea who exactly you're looking for? Shorter than most. I'm gonna need a bit more than that. Darkened features? Narrowing it down. Give me something else. Wore a full beard. Ah, yes. I remember that poor man now. He came in with a swollen ankle, but on his journey through the swamp, he must have contracted the plague. His condition declined rapidly. I'm sorry to say. In the end, there wasn't much I could do for him except make him comfortable. He's dead? What sort of sick house is this anyway? My condolences, really. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to get back to doing what I can for the living. At least tell me where his wife might collect his body. The nurse outside seemed to be having trouble keeping track of them all. Sorry, that information is reserved for next of kin. Judging by your physique, I wouldn't say you were related to the deceased in the slightest. The doctor turns away from you to prepare vials of medicine, before returning to the old woman in the swamp with the bad news. Leech! Gotta go tell lady that her husband's dead. Unfortunate. Frog! Frog. Frog! We got it. Everything's fine. Everything is fine. We got the frog. Don't worry, everyone. We got the frog. Should also probably, like, collect more thistle again, since we used, like, all of it. How do we get back to the lady? It's kind of a twisty-turny path that we took. and I have no idea how to get anywhere. A totem! Eerie. Somehow manages to make the swamp even less inviting. Okay. Hi, Smiley. How's it going, friend? How are you doing? Get the frogs! Cyril, hi! How are y'all doing? How's it going? This is great. 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 I am super duper enjoying this game so far. It's great. It's got a good soundtrack. It has beautiful visuals. The gameplay is fun. The story is great. I wish to be this witch. That's a drake. I need to walk away from it. Yeah, no, would highly recommend. It's very lovely so far. There's lots of crafting, but it's like, it's not super intense. I can see that, yeah. Only, it's like super easy to do crafting, and it lets you know what you're doing as opposed to don't starve. Also, Cyril, thank you for the bubble. I think you both would really, really enjoy this game. It's very good. Do you have any news on my husband? He should have been back from the sick house by now. You bow your head in condolence. I'm sorry to say that your husband has passed away. The leech said that he fell ill with the plague. Rather than grief, an expression of mild annoyance crosses the woman's face. Oh, what a nuisance. You don't seem that upset by the news. Well, he was getting on in years. It was bound to happen sooner or later. I just didn't think it would be from some measly plague of all things. So, where is the fool now? I'm not sure. The leech wouldn't tell me. But her assistant mentioned having to dispose of the bodies out in the swamp. Ah, brimstone and bandersnatch. I know I'm already in your debt, sister, but can I ask you for another favor? I suppose I've already stuck my foot in this mess. What is it? There's an old circle of power just west of here. It served me well in my younger years, and I expect it's still got some juice left. I need you to dust it off and fire it up again. I'd go do it myself, but by the time I get there, my poor husband's body would already be reduced to worm farts. What am I to do with the circle? You're a knowledgeable lass. The engravings on the obelisk should explain the rest. Alright. Nah, it's great. It's good. Good game. Would recommend. Here is our crafting menu. You find things to craft as you explore the world and look at different creatures and things. It tells you how much you need of everything, even if you haven't come across the item just yet, which is nice. And you can, I think, hold unlimited amounts of everything, which is super wonderful, and you love to see it. What is this? Witch spice? So much hoarding. All of the hoarding. Every last bit of hoarding. Nah, it's great. I love it. And yeah, the art is just really lovely, and it's great. At least thus far, it has not yelled at me for having too much of anything. I think, anything that you can keep in your inventory, which is stuff that you can actively use, it might limit. Hold on, I have to, like, rearrange myself in my chair. But that hasn't really been much of an issue as of yet. So it just kind of lets you do whatever, and that's wonderful. Yeah. But there's no limit in here as to what you can carry, which is nice. But yeah, good game. Not an egg limit. I could only get a single egg from a chicken at any given time, but it's fine. You brush off a blanket of thick moss and lichen from the ancient magical pattern carved into the earth. The essence of power wakes at your touch, bringing slight warmth to your fingertips. 4 black stone obelisks surround the ritual spot. You'll need to scrape off more overgrown decay to read the runic lettering engraved on their surfaces. Okay. Hold on. What? Power up the swamp obelisks. We need to collect a drake fang from the swamp, craft apothecary humors, craft a necromantic charm, and get a death certificate from the leech. Okay, so we do need to make that sacrifice for the drake. That can happen. Here's this. We need some witch spice. Let's get that roast beast. And then... Wait, what is this? Oh, I don't have this. I need a jar of milk and a dragonfly wing. Gotta go back. Okay, hold on. We have to go back to the fields. But also, it's about time that we end stream. So, let's get some dragonfly wings real fast. Since we're here. Nah, I need to stand up and stretch. I also just, like, wasn't super feeling stream earlier, so the fact that I've gotten through the 2 hours that I usually stream is miraculous. I'm feeling a smidge better now, but we got, look at this great game that we can play in the afternoons now. It's exciting and wonderful. Right? It was like, I feel like garbage today, honestly, like emotional poop. It's fine, we're working on it. But I wanted to stream, I just wasn't sure if I was gonna have, like, the motivation or the attention span to do it, but I wanted to stop in and say hi to my friends and also show everyone this really cute game. So here we are, doing that, and we've done it, and it's great, and I am very proud of myself for doing it. Need a jar to collect some milk. Exploded some milk out of that cow. No, see, like, I figured I might feel a little better if I did stream anyway, because I could say hi to my friends and get to chat with everybody. And I took yesterday off, kind of unplanned, took it off. Look, I'd believe it. I saw that you weren't feeling too hot either, Cyril. And I love you and you're wonderful. And don't let anyone, even yourself, tell you that otherwise, okay? Okay? I love all of you. You're all fucking great. Don't feel bad, but also it's okay to feel bad. It's fine to feel bad. It's what you do with it that matters. But it's fine. We're gonna feel what we're feeling, but we're gonna get through it. Not the toots! Not the toots, Smiley! Yeah. I don't know what I'm trying to say at this point. Y'all are great, though. And I need you all to know that you're all fantastic. And it's fine if you don't feel okay. I'm upset that you don't feel okay, but you're allowed to not feel okay. No one can tell you to not feel that. And honestly, it's better to just process it and deal with it than not. I don't know what I'm saying at this point. I have I'm so excited about that blanket, genuinely. I think it's supposed to arrive like just after the first of the year. So we've got like a week and a half, 2 weeks left to wait, but it's gonna be fine. In the meantime, I do have this really good lettuce blanket that Bo got me. That's just very good and very soft. I'm so excited, Smiley, to have your face keep my lap warm. Wait. Luna! You know what? If you can't get anything done today, that's okay. You should try. You should try to get a thing done. But if you can't do it, that's okay too. Oh! Oh! Smiley! Let us all adore this very good blanket right here. Look at it. Look at it. Look! Look! It's freaking lettuce. I love Bo. But no, I am very excited about the Smiley blanket as well. It is so soft. Usually I'm not like a huge fan of like fleece blankets because they make me feel really hot and sweaty and gross. But this one, like the fleece is really thin, so it's still like breathable. I don't know. It's nice. I like it. It's a good lettuce blanket. Also, the Smiley Cage burrito. Oh no. Yes! Do it! When I was putting stuff on my wish list, I considered getting one of the burrito blankets, but then I saw the giant piece of lettuce. No! Scritchy scratches because of dry feet and hands is the worst. Honestly. That's understandable. I just have the tendency to overheat so easily that it doesn't go great for me. Okay, I was gonna save this for next time, but we do have the sacrifice. Don't moisturize the blanket. Don't do that. That's a bad suggestion. I love wrapping up in blankets and being snuggled up in them, but I just get so hot so fast, and then it's just uncomfortable. I am jealous of those who can just wrap up in a blanket and not have to worry about it. What is that like? I'm glad I'm not the only one. I think we've talked about that before. It's wild. Temperature regulation, what even is it? It's not real. I'm pretty sure it's a fake thing. Okay, hold on. I used to do that, but then I would kick everything off because I would be so uncomfy. But I got a weighted blanket not too terribly long ago, and it has helped a lot because for me, it's just having the weight of all the blankets on me. So having the weighted blanket has helped with that a lot, and I don't sweat too much with it. Also, are we ready to give this Drake the sacrifice? Sacrifice is right there. Don't eat me. And he's asleep. I can use shears on him. I got a Drake Fang. Great. I bought a king-sized weighted blanket that is 30 pounds in total, and it's so good. Not the menopause. Yeah, it's good. It was extremely expensive, but you know what? It's 100% worth it. Honestly. Okay, what are we doing? We got the Drake Fang. Okay, this is fine. We just need the necromantic charm. What does that take? Pumpkin jack bone. Okay, well this is acceptable. I have not, and that sounds horrific. Why would you do that? That sounds awful. Look, I can take a hit. Because I'm big and beefy. I wouldn't want to, try to catch my fucking weighted blanket. I would die. I'll do most things on a dare, but I'm not an idiot. Don't do that. No, Luna, don't do it. You're gonna get smushed. You're gonna get squashed, and then we'll never see you again. Ah! Don't do it. Please don't do it. Luna, look, listen. I can't take a hit from a body blanket, a weighted blanket. I am concerned for you. Right? Not the broken neck. Yeah, body blanket. It's fine. Do y'all not have body blankets? We have it on record that it would be Cyril's fault. Cyril is responsible for this. See? Okay, good. We have saved Luna from getting bodied by a weighted blanket for at least one more day. My goodness. Shall we find someone to raid and hang out with? Days without Luna accidents, 1 and counting. If you do it, you gotta record it though, Luna. I'll check him out. It's gonna be great. Alright. Let me get these raid messages up. Though that my caps lock is on. It's fine. It's so soon. I honestly didn't even realize that Christmas was that soon. I don't really celebrate. I wonder. Let's go hang out with... Y'all cool with hanging out with Ghost Panda? She's doing some Black Desert. We haven't said hello to her in a hot minute. I've decided. We're gonna go hang out with Ghost Panda. Choice has been made. I love all of you. Thank you for being here and being wonderful and fantastic and just darling people. Thanks for dealing with me being a little less than my usual super peppy self. I mean, it's still me, so this is what you get. But thanks for being here and hanging out and chatting with me while I felt like a poop head. I should be back this evening with more Alan Wake. We shall see. Right? Nah, see? I can't. I've got nothing to say. Y'all are great and fantastic, and I love the fact that you are all just wonderful, beautiful, lovely human beings. Thank you for being you. Wowee. That sounds like a lot of fun, though. That's neat. But anyway, let's go say hello to our friend Ghost Panda Zero. Like I said, I'll be back this evening with some more Alan Wake. And until then, take care of your dang selves. I love y'all. Have a good rest of your time zone. So long, friends.